sanctioned episode of the Ruca and Dave Show from Mister Tramps. We are streaming live from MrTramps.com, but you won't know that unless you're already watching. So I hope you check everything out on Facebook, all those secret groups, all my hoopla, my brouhaha, the Twitter feed, the, I don't know, Friendster feed, the LinkedIn. What else? What else we got? I don't know. All right, so we have a very special guest today at Mister Tramps. It's none other than Austin's very own Romeo Rose.
This is Romeo Rose coming at you live from Austin, Texas.
And we are literally live, so that is excellent.
It's like the first time I think I've actually been correct on that, right? Because I always say I'm live even when I'm not. It's a running joke.
You know, Ruca and I have running jokes too, and the biggest one is, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're talking about. We'll leave her out of this one. All right, so as everyone knows, this is Romeo Rose. He's got a little bit of notoriety in town, and but I wanted to do this podcast because I want to get to the real Romeo Rose, the man behind the online persona. So that's why I had you here today. I thought it would be a cool way to just get to know you as an individual. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to just talk about your life, your history, talk about that crazy-ass guitar. Show the camera your guitar, dude. That thing is bananas. Look at this crazy-ass guitar, everybody. That thing is sick. It's hand-carved out of...
It's an altar.
It's a literal working piece of art. It's really cool.
And it's actually for sale right now, too. So if you got like $700, you can have this guitar I put $4,000 into. It's for sale.
Dang,
Cash.
you're so damn lost, my man. If you're investing in stocks, I'd say don't. But this is a different scenario. All right, well, anyway, let's get on with the show. I got some notes. We're going to do an outline here, so we're just going to keep to the outline real quick. So I want to get into your history first because to me, you're kind of an enigma. I know of you through online and through this, that, and the other, but I'm not exactly sure the real story that you have. So, first of all, how old are you? Like, how old are you?
41, just turned 41 September 18th.
Okay.
I was born on the same day Jimi Hendrix died. I was born the day before my ex-girlfriend. She was actually 18 years older than me.
Oh,
but
wow.
I always tell everybody she was only 1 day older than me.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, Ruca's got me by 6 years, so I get that. And your real name, what is it?
Romeo Rose.
Okay, your birth name. Like, what name were you given at the hospital?
Oh, at the
hospital. I know your legal name is Romeo Rose.
Yeah, that's my legal name.
Yeah. So, but what was your name given at birth?
Larry.
Larry?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
But I didn't like that name. You know, I feel like people should just be whoever they want to be. You know, and just make a name for themselves.
If that was the case, when I was 6 or 7 years old, my name would have been Texas. So I'm not sure that would have been a good idea for me at the time. Actually, though, it's kind of funny you say that because names are powerful things. And, names are legacies and whatnot. Right. And my real name is Howard David Thomas, and I'm named after my grandfather. And the story behind it actually is that my biological father wanted to name me after his motorcycle, Harley Davidson. My mom was like, not only no, but hell no. So they settled on Howard, which is after my
she was like, hell to the now.
Yeah, she was like, no, I'm not having that. I was like, come on, Mom, that would have been cool. But anyway, and so Howard is after her father, and then David, I guess you could say, is short for Davidson, and then my adopted dad adopted me. And I became Thomas, so there's that.
Yeah, and see, like you said, speaking on legacies and stuff, my biological father, he killed my identical twin brother, which is represented on my guitar. That's what the two angels.
Yeah,
on the guitar. That's me and
angels,
the angel. That's my identical twin brother that was killed when he was 2 years old by my biological father. So I didn't want the same legacy or the same name that he had, so that's why I always wanted to change my name.
So Larry is your bio dad's name?
Yeah.
Okay, I get you.
He has the same first and last name as me, so that's why I wanted to change my name so I could be my own person and not be distinguish myself from his legacy, so to speak.
I get that. No, that's totally cool, and I understand that. Like I named my son Marshall, Jose Thomas, and I named him Marshall because Marshall is the last name of my biological family, Jose is my wife's father's name, and Thomas is my last name, right? So, you know, and so people were asking me, hey, you gonna name him Junior, or the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the fifth? No, because I feel like that was putting something on him that he didn't need to have put on him. I wanted to give him a name that was cool sounding, and it's cool because his mom laughs. So when Ruca laughs, she can't be mad at him, right? So I just mom-proofed the kid. Early on, I mom-proofed the kid, so everything was copacetic, right? So, yeah, I like being able to, I like names, I like the way they roll off the tongue. Like your name is alliterated, and, you know, that's...
I like Romeo because it describes who I am, you know, Romeo, like Romeo and Juliet, and that's what I'm all about is love. Everything I do is a means to that end of love, and I'm very passionate and intense, like Romeo, to die for someone. I like the way it rolls off the tongue because it sounds kind of Italian. And then Rose, I like that, you know, because, you know, it's a romantic flower. It sounds good together. It sounds musical, Romeo Rose. And also, I'm actually Rose's brother from another mother.
I'll get into that in a minute because there's some questions I have for you. So where are you originally from? Like, the first time I ever heard of you, it was when you did the Sleepless in Austin thing. And you just popped up out of the blue, and I've been kind of like keeping track of you through media and whatnot since then. But where did you grow up? What city were you born in?
I was born in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
And from the time I was 2 years old until I met my ex-girlfriend and moved to West Virginia, I lived in Columbus, Georgia. And then in 2000, the year 2000, when I was about 24 years old, I moved to Huntington, West Virginia. Really against my will. I didn't really want to live there, but that's where she lived, so I couldn't convince her to come and live with me in my house. So I moved in with her and lived there for about 10 years. And then after that, I came to Austin, Texas on December 22nd, 2009 was my first day living in Austin. I had visited this place in 2005. But the funny thing about it is people in Austin actually knew who I was before I ever moved here in 2009. KLBJ talked about me years before I moved here. I was written about. They actually accused me of burning the governor's mansion down. And spray painting the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue. Funny enough, because you know, before when I lived in West Virginia, I did a lot of performance art and stuff like Andy Kaufman, but it was mostly just about other musicians and stuff like that. Something kind of funny to do as a pastime and hobby, and that kind of gave me a bit of fame through that.
So, okay, wait. So the governor's mansion fire, the one that when Perry was in office.
Yeah,
right? The most recent fire, right?
Yeah, the one that was like, I guess it was like 2008 or it was like the one before I moved here, like about a year or two before I moved here or something like that. Whenever it was, I forget. It's all running together now, but yeah. There was some discussion in online forums that they figured that was probably me and stuff like that.
Well, how did they know of you if you haven't even been in town? Because KLBJ is ultra local.
Yeah, well they knew about me because I'm a musician. And so I wrote songs and posted a lot of videos and stuff on YouTube and had quite a following. I had over 300,000 hits on my song, The Place I Call Home, which is a video on YouTube right now that has over 350,000 views. I had that before Sleepless in Austin. And I would write songs. And me and these other musicians, especially a lot of musicians that were Texas-based, like Wes Jeans, Tyler Dow Bryant, and Lance Lopez and stuff like that, we would have like these online disputes and stuff. We started out as sort of friends, but then we had a falling out because I used to be friends with Cutter Brandenburg, who passed away about a year or two ago, who was Stevie Ray Vaughan's road manager. And he wrote about me in the book that he wrote about Stevie Ray Vaughan called You Can't Stop the Comet. So I was in a book about Stevie Ray Vaughan, the lyrics to my song Soul Brother, which I wrote partly about Stevie and partly about the loss of my twin brother, because Cutter told me, he said, you know, I seen Stevie like a brother, and that song Soul Brother reminds me of him. Can I put your lyrics to your song in this book about Stevie Ray Vaughan? So I said, sure, because I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. And he did that, and that was when I was living in West Virginia. And so here I was, and I made some enemies because me and Cutter had a falling out. And next thing you know, he told the Stevie Ray Vaughan for me, he told all these people bad lies about me and stuff like that, and that turned them against me. So people like Lance Lopez, we were having like this East Coast West thing. We both were blues guitar players, you know. He's like opening up for ZZ Top and touring the world. And all of a sudden, we had this feud like you would see Tupac and Biggie having, where we were writing songs against each other, basically saying we wanted to kill each other in our songs. Like I would write a song against him, and then he actually wrote a song against me and put it on his CD. It's called Romeo, and it's on his CD. But I guess we kind of settled our differences a few years ago, so I don't think he has any
And
hard feelings against me.
that was Lance Lopez?
Lance Lopez,
And he
yeah.
had a song called Romeo?
Yeah,
And
Romeo.
it was a blues battle song?
Yeah, it's like a blues rock battle song. He basically talks about the lyrics in that song. It's how the name of it's called Romeo, and he talks about how he wants to kill me. Basically, his words I think was like, "I want to watch the life slip away from your eye," and stuff like that. And so
That's pretty hardcore, dude.
Yeah. I mean, before I came to Austin, Texas, Cutter Brandenburg and a lot of his friends and a lot of people that own clubs and stuff here were telling me, if you ever step foot in Texas, we're going to break all your fingers so you can't play guitar anymore. They actually put my posters up in Dallas as wanted to keep me out of the Cowboys place in Arlington there, where they were having a Stevie Ray Vaughan performance. For reunion type of thing for that, to memorial him.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there was that, and they pissed me off so much. I made this video that got really infamous there for a while. This is back in probably like 2005,
Was that
2006.
the Randy Rhoads YouTube video?
No, this one is the one I did about Texas, and this pissed off a lot of people in Texas because, see, then all these people in Texas started pissing me off and saying stuff like, we don't like you and we hate you and we're going to break your fingers and stuff. So I said, what's the most offensive thing I can do to Texas? So I thought, well, I know what I'll do. I'll make a video. And at that time, I thought I was basically, because I was playing blues like Stevie Ray Vaughan. So I used to always tell people I'm a black man trapped in a white man's body, just trying to get out. So I basically talked like a black pimp and wrote songs from a black person's perspective and stuff like that. See myself as a black person because that's what I identified with at that time in 2005, 2006. So I wrote a song against some of the people in Texas, and I called it "Kiss My Black Ass." And all you people in Texas can kiss my black ass. And that's kind of how the chorus of that song went. And I made a music video, and I got the Texas flag out, and I took it out in the backyard, and this guy videotaped me. I set it on fire. I set the Texas flag on fire. And then I wanted, because like you said, with Randy Rhoads, Ozzy Osbourne is my other hero. Ozzy Osbourne and the guitarist Randy Rhoads is my favorite guitar player. Stevie Ray Vaughan and Randy Rhoads are two of my favorite guitar players. I'm in books about both of them. And then also, I thought Ozzy, he pissed off Texas when he pissed on the Alamo, which he did by accident because he was drunk and he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
So I thought, man, I'm Texans, really take that Alamo shit personally. So I thought, I want to make them really mad because they made me really mad. So I went on eBay because I thought, well, my dick's big, but it can't reach all the way to the Alamo from West Virginia. But I said, well, I'll do the next best thing. I'll just go on eBay. I bought a miniature scale version of the Alamo. And when it came, I took it out to the backyard and videotaped myself pissing on a miniature scale Alamo. And I put that in the video too. And when I put that up on YouTube, I'm telling you, it pissed off so many people. I don't have that video on YouTube anymore because somebody came over to my place and stole my laptop. And that video was on there. But it was pretty amazing stuff.
All right, so, okay. That was a lot of information. That's cool. No, okay.
Well, I asked Justin. Justin knows I can be a talker. I get off on these damn tangents, but I know we're constricted right now by just an hour. So
Yeah, we got an hour. That was a good 5 minutes, my man. All right, so check this out, though. So, you're living... Okay. We haven't even gotten to your ex-girlfriend yet.
I know, you don't even have nothing in the outline about how the Secret Service or the FBI as came to my house like several times.
Okay, hang on a sec. Stop. We got. Okay, let's dial this back a minute. Okay, you're 2 years old, and so you're who raised you? Who raised you?
My great grandmother. I've got her laser engraved on the back of the guitar on an Indian motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you said she was a bootlegger back in the day.
She did for temporarily. She bootlegged liquor in Prohibition times in Phoenix City, Alabama. Actually, used to be sort of like a mafia stronghold at that time.
Yeah.
Now it's one of those places you drive through. It's a one-horse town. There's nothing there now, but back in the 40s or 50s, it was something.
So she was raising you in Georgia then?
In Columbus, Georgia, where like Fort Benning military base is.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Okay, and then.
She was a very overprotective person, very, very good-hearted, very decent, good woman.
Oh, okay. And so what was it like being Romeo Rose or Larry as a child? Like, what'd you do? What were your hobbies? What were you into?
See, this is an important question.
Bicycles?
No, music. I'll tell you what my life was like. She was very overprotective. So basically, if you can picture my life, it would be very isolated and very confined because I was basically just locked in a room my whole entire life. And she gave me all the money I wanted, so I had all the material things. I had a room full of guitars, and I had TV, so I had MTV. And at the time, when I was like 12 or 13, I was watching Headbangers Ball like every day. So and her husband was like a daddy to me. and he got killed the day before Thanksgiving in a farm accident when I was 13 years old. So you got to understand, I only ever seen him on the weekends anyway, maybe one day out of the weekend at that, because he'd go out somewhere and be seeing his other family and stuff. So you got to understand, because I think this is an important thing to understand the formation of what I am, is that I grew up very isolated by myself, and the only role models that I had growing up was people like Axl Rose and these other bands that I watched and that I idolized every hour of my waking life. Because that's that lifestyle that I seen on MTV of Headbangers Ball, and this heavy metal lifestyle, and the way that Axl Rose is like outspoken, and he just says whatever he wants to say, and doesn't care what nobody thinks, and the way they dress, and just the way they act, and all of it, the whole lifestyle is what I took part of. This is the way people are supposed to be. This is the way a man is supposed to be. Like David Lee Roth, it's all about him. It's all being self-absorbed and very narcissistic and stuff like that. If you look at his music videos, that may not be how he is in real life. I don't know. But if you look at his image and his music videos and stuff and see him on TV, that's how he acts.
So basically what you're saying is that these media personas of Axl Rose and Ozzy and David Lee Roth and the rock and roll type, the hair band guys, and the metal dudes, they're the ones, they were your impression of what a man is.
Yeah, and it's just like, I've seen other things out there, but this was what resonated with me the most, and this was like, this is what I'm going to be, this is what I am.
So you didn't have so by being very isolated, you didn't go outside, hang out with neighborhood kids, you didn't have schoolmates you goofed off with on the monkey bars? Or
no, not really. I was pretty much like in solitary confinement, like literally. Like I wasn't really allowed to go anywhere.
So at a young age, when you were living with your grandmother, you weren't socialized with other kids?
No, not really, because see, she never let me go anywhere. She never let anybody come over to my house, and I wasn't really allowed to go anywhere. And the thing about it is like, say for example, like I wasn't allowed to cross the street by myself until I was like 18 years old, because she was afraid to let me go across the street by myself, that I would get hit by a car. So then, funny enough, when I was like 20, I tried to cross the street by myself, and I got hit by a car.
I got hit by a car once. I was my family, we moved to Norfolk, Virginia. My dad joined the Navy, so we're living in like Navy housing, which is like projects basically. And we're coming from Munster, Texas, which is a town of 800 people, and then we moved to the Hampton Roads area of Virginia and Maryland, and I was in the street chasing a soccer ball. Bam!
Yeah. I tried to cross it. I wasn't going at the intersection, so that's why I got hit. And there was these people in a Cadillac, these old people. And at that time, I was into punk rock music, so I had a spiked dog collar on, and I had ripped up jeans over leather pants.
Did they aim for you, or what?
Well, what happened was you weren't supposed to cross there. You were supposed to go to the intersection and wait for the white man to tell you that it's okay to cross. On this little signal thing, the white man. But what I did was I tried to cross in the middle of the road, and you weren't supposed to cross.
You were jaywalking.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know what jaywalking was. And there was 5 cars coming at me, and I looked at them. I thought, okay, I think I can run across there like really fast and make it. Once I got to about the middle of the road, I was like, oh my God, these cars are coming faster than I thought they was coming. And I was like in the middle of the road like Frogger, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? It's going to take me just as long to run to the other side as it will to run this side. I said, okay, now, and I'm thinking all this in a split second. So I think to myself, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run as fast as I can. I can make it past that 3rd car, and I think I can jump. I can take a running leap and just jump over that 5th car. So I tried to do that, and I tried to jump up in the air, and that 5th car hit me, and I tell you, it knocked me back, and I fell unconscious for a second. When I woke up, this old man was over me, cussing at me, and he said, are you on drugs? What's wrong with you? Because I had hair down to here, and I had spiked armbands on looking like Judas Priest, and he's like, are you on drugs? He said, you better hope you didn't scratch our car when you hit it. And he said, you better hope my wife is okay, that she don't have a heart attack, because you scared the death out of her when you hit our car. That's what he said, when you hit our car. And because I'm dressed up like a punk rocker in Columbus, Georgia, where it's very conservative and stuff, I was asking for help, because they said they were going to call the police, and I was nervous because I had an iron pipe in my hand, because I was trying to get this little girl to like me that was like 17 or 18 years old at the time, and I was like, I think I was 21 or something, and she had a brother who just got out of prison for killing people, and so I heard he was after me, and you lived in the neighborhood. So that's why I had an iron pipe, and I was going to my grandmother's house to cut the grass. And when that car hit me and that pipe flew out of my hands, I thought, oh my God, the police are going to come and see me dressed like this. And these redneck people in Georgia, they hate me dressed like punk rocker. And they're going to think I'm trying to be up to no good with this pipe, so I'm going to get in trouble, right? So I'm walking down the road, and I see these people stopped at the stoplight, and I'm like knocking on the doors and saying, hey, could you please give me a ride to my grandmother's house down the road before the police get here? And they're just rolling up the damn window because I look like Sid Vicious, and they're scared. And it was a horrible moment there, you know.
So okay, so what we've gathered so far is that your childhood was very shut.
It was, because let me tell you how shut in it was. And I got to do anything I wanted in life. I'm like Eric Cartman from South Park. So the thing
but in
about
the
this,
house, though.
Yeah, because let me tell you how extreme it got. Because when I first went to school, the first day of school in kindergarten, my great-grandmother told me how I was going to go. She said, I said, how am I going to get food? She said, you go to the cafeteria and you just tell them whatever you want to eat and they'll make it for you. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll go to the cafeteria and I'm like, and they're like, look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, I don't want to eat none of this slop that you got. So I went home. I was mad. Now, keep in mind, I'm 6 years old or whatever. I go home. I tell my great-grandmother about what BS that is. And she's like, okay, I'm going to go up there to the principal, because we didn't live that far from the school, about a 2-minute drive. And she said, I'm going to go to the principal and tell him that you will be taken out of that school unless you can be allowed to come home every day for your lunch hour so you can eat whatever the hell you want to eat and drink all the Coca-Cola that you want to drink and watch your cartoons. So from the time I was in kindergarten all the way to when I got to 7th grade, I was allowed to go home every single day. I was the only kid in school that got to do that.
So you were raised with like no concept of social order then? Like,
well, see, I don't believe in that either. I don't believe that there should be a hierarchy or any kind of special social norms. You know,
no, I mean,
people should do what they want to do.
But what I'm saying though is like in any group of people, like a group of people here, and naturally, just out of interaction,
I never really had interactions.
There's going to be sets of unspoken rules. Like, I know I'm not going to step down here and make out with my friend Shane because one, Mark will gut me, and Ruca will gut me, and then I'm going to gut this piece of shit laying on the floor, right? But that's a rule.
That's common sense.
I'm not going to go in the back corner to my homeboy Armando back there and slap his hat off his head because, you know, he's Armando, I can do that. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm saying though, but the way, I understand that your great-grandmother loved you very much.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go to the far direction it seems like you're about to go. I wouldn't go to the far that say that this overprotection and sheltering, like it shunted me or that I didn't learn how to interact with other people. That had nothing to do with it. Oh. The only thing that I would say that did have is it made me more of a shy person. It made me more introspective, and it made me probably being that isolated and stuff made me much more shy and more insecure and things like that. Because I have a very low self-confidence and low self-esteem and stuff like that, and things of that nature. I didn't actually go to school most of the time either, because especially after 6th grade, I just stopped going to school completely. And my great-grandmother, she had a lot of power and stuff and money, so she was able to lie to people and say, you know what, he's changing schools and we just lost the transcripts or whatever. That way that keeps the truancy officer off your back and stuff. So I quit school when I was like 15 years old. I never went. I missed like 200 days a year out of school, because I didn't want to go. And then if they tried to make me go because I was so rebellious, I'd be like, I'm going to put down all the wrong answers on purpose because I want to make absolute zeros every day, even if I know the right answer.
So you're trying to get them to kick you out of school?
Yeah, because I don't want to go to school. I don't like the teachers. I want to do what I want to do. Because I told them, I said, you know what? All I care about is heavy metal. That's all I care about is heavy metal music. Unless you're going to show me guitar and heavy metal, I don't need to know it.
That's interesting. So that's crazy. So you said you went from Georgia to West Virginia. And that's where you met the girl you call Silly Girl.
Yeah.
Now,
and to segue into that, because the most beautiful segue for that would be, because you were talking about how things affect me and what turns me into what I am now. You got to understand, when I moved there to be with this girl, I never had a girlfriend before at that point. So you have to understand that.
So you went all in.
But I went all in. I met this girl online, and I didn't meet her in real life until October 1st, 1999. And that was the first time that I ever kissed a girl, held a girl's hand, or had any kind of girlfriend at all, I never had been on a date with a girl before, you see. So imagine meeting this girl online back in August of 1999, talking to her about 2 weeks on the internet, and then talking to her for about 4 more weeks on the payphone, like 6 to 8 hours a day on the payphone, because we didn't have cell phones back then, really.
Right.
We did, but they were weird. and you know, like this big, and they were like very expensive.
Nokia,
But yeah, so I talked to her on the payphone for like 4 weeks, and then she drove all the way from West Virginia to Columbus, Georgia, a 10-hour drive, and we got a motel, and you know, so everything that day, October 1st, 1999, that was the first day I got to ever kiss a girl, the first day I ever got to make love, the first day I got to do anything, you know?
That shit escalated quickly.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, well, we had 6 weeks of talking, though, beforehand.
Did you try to, like, figure out the condom?
Well, I didn't use no condom.
What? You got some balls, dude.
Well, you know, I mean, I knew she was clean and everything, you know, and she had a hysterectomy, so she couldn't have kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so, you know, but the point about that making was...
I mean, being clean, I mean, you could say, I could say I don't need glasses, but here I am with contacts, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I just took a chance. But, you know, I mean, the thing about it is in leading up to that, before we talk about that, skipping ahead just for one moment, that whole entire never having doing a lot of these things before then, never having been on a date with a girl, and this being the only girl that I've ever known my whole entire life or done anything with,
yeah.
And I didn't actually get her by means of actually meeting a girl, finding a girl,
charming her.
Well, I did all that over the 6 weeks. I did all that.
In a close interaction type.
Yeah, I mean, I did that long distance ways. I mean, I sent her gifts and
yeah.
all kinds of things like that, but I never actually tried to figure out how do you approach a girl and go up to her and introduce yourself and try to talk to her and try to get her to like you and stuff like that. So when she left me, and I came to Texas, I had no idea how to do that.
I got some great advice for you. You know what you do? You go to a Halloween party, dress as a banana, and get drunk. That's what I did. I would been married in years, so. Right? Am I right? Actually, dude, I can give you a little bit of advice on this if you would like.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, look, check it out. You got to find just like small things. Like, for example, let's say you're at the grocery store, you're buying lettuce because health, whatever, fuck lettuce. And then you see a chick, okay, you do the once over, right? You know what the once over is, right? Check for the ring, my man. She ain't got no ring? Apparently she's fair game. Now she may have a boyfriend, she may not, but it knocks, it helps glean the herd a little bit, you know, like, okay, because, you know, I'm going to go after that broken gazelle, not the one that's all healthy and shit.
Like them all the time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is...
I was thinking about going to vandalizing Joe's Coffee at one point when I was with her. I didn't do it, but I was thinking about where it says I love you so much. I was going to actually risk going to jail for her because I wanted to put her name under I love you so much and then sign my name, Romeo Rose, under it. Because I knew that would make the news and everything, and that would be a great romantic gesture. Now, of course, I would have paid Joe, you know, like 2 or 3 like them all the time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is...
I was thinking about going to vandalizing Joe's Coffee at one point when I was with her. I didn't do it, but I was thinking about where it says I love you so much. I was going to actually risk going to jail for her because I wanted to put her name under I love you so much and then sign my name, Romeo Rose, under it. Because I knew that would make the news and everything, and that would be a great romantic gesture. Now, of course, I would have paid Joe, you know, like $200 or $300 to have that repainted because I love that little mural that's on a coffee shop. It's romantic, but I believe in doing things like that to express yourself.
Romeo, that's a little strong.
Yes.
Like,
I'm a very extreme person.
No, I know, but you gotta understand, like a lot of females, they want a little more subtlety. Like,
I don't think she ever wanted to be there. She was just using me.
Like she could have been, what's that word from that movie? Honey, was it honey pot?
Honey dick?
What?
Honey dick?
Well, no, it's a dude. It said she was a female. It's not honey dick. Well, it's honey dick if you're a dude. What, honey pot? Help me out. Hey, movie, Robert.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
The interview. They kept saying that you got honey dick, you got honey dick. But what was it? What, honey tits? What is it? Like, huh? Yeah. She might have been honey pot, man. You know what that means, right?
I never heard of that.
She used her femininity to woo you into doing shit for her. But she had no intentions. But at the same time, though, you might have came on a little strong.
Yeah, it was a little unnecessary, though, for her having half of APD down on my job, though. But, you know, I got to keep the job. But see,
drop the 5K, man. I wouldn't drop 5K on a chick.
I gave this one girl $20,000 one time before I met Susan in West Virginia.
Yeah,
before I met her, because my great grandmother used to give me like an allowance when I was a kid. I got $3,000 a month when I was like 10 years old, and you know, so it's like
$3K a month.
Yeah. This is like way back in the '80s, man. I used to go clear out like Toys R Us. I'd buy all the video games, all the toys, everything. It was awesome. But see, and that's the thing. I grew up a very spoiled person. You know, I was very spoiled and stuff like that when I was a kid. So I kind of have that entitled mentality that's followed me through life, and that arrogance and stuff like that, and self-absorbedness, because I lived alone anyway and got to do what I wanted to and be the boss. But you know, it's like that girl though. You know, she just that was just crazy how she did all that. But it's just those things, man, that led up to the whole sleepless.
So Susan is silly girl.
Yeah, silly girl. Yeah.
Okay, so you two were together for
11 years.
You met online. Many people do, and you moved to West Virginia.
And we weren't even trying to meet each other online. It wasn't a dating website or nothing like that.
It was just like a message board.
It was like a message board.
90s, so we're talking like
it wasn't even a computer, dude. It was web TV. Was what it was called, web TV.
I remember web. Who remembers web TV? Clap it up for web TV. Yeah, web TV.
There was this little chat room in there called Talk City.
Yeah.
And so I logged into there, and you know, my name at the time was Rolex Submariner, and her name was Redheaded Babe 40. And I just opened up a chat room, started talking to her, and she sent me a picture. I sent her a picture. Then we exchanged phone numbers, and next thing you know, she planned a trip to come down there and see me, and then we took turns seeing each other. She would drive down to Georgia, I would fly up to West Virginia. About 6 months later, I just decided to go up there. She didn't even know it, but I bought her an engagement ring, and after 6 months, I went up there and just decided I was going to live there with her. Even though she didn't tell me I could live with her, I just said, you know what, I'm going up there and I'm going to live with her. And one time, I'll tell you this, one time when I was visiting her, because a lot of people don't know how I am, but when I was visiting her one time, you know, just to stay like the weekend, she said, okay, well, it's Monday, so, okay, you're going to go to the airport and leave now, right? And I said, no, I don't want to go home. I want to stay here forever. I want to stay with you forever. So I like locked myself in the bathroom, and I wouldn't come out. She couldn't get me to come out of the bathroom because I loved her so much I didn't want to come out of the bathroom.
You got to know that's really, really strong.
I'm very codependent. Yeah.
I know. But you know what? Look, here's the deal. Here's the deal, everybody. If you're watching, Reddit. If you're watching, but this is important though, because I wanted to do this. I wanted to get, because you come off very, very strong online as well, and the things you say. Let's just call them controversial, right? Yeah. We can agree on that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was thinking to myself, because that's what I call myself when I listen. I said, I stole that joke. I don't know where I heard it. I think I heard it from one of the redneck guys. Anyway, not the cable dude, the other one.
Ron White.
No, not the funny one. And not the one with the mustache, that third guy.
Larry the Cable Guy?
No. No.
Jeff Foxworthy?
No, not the mustache.
Taylor?
Bill Engvall.
No. Bill Engvall. Yeah, I stole that from Bill Engvall. So, I lost track, dude. What was I talking about? Romeo?
Talk to yourself.
I was talking about how I locked myself in the bathroom with big controversy.
Okay.
Strong opinions.
But I was thinking to myself that I want to get to the end. Like, I want to peel back the onion, you know what I'm saying? And so this is why I'm enjoying this conversation right now. So, but you gotta understand, dude, like, that is very, very intense. Like, crank to 11, you know?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Top 11,
Yeah. Like,
I'm pretty sure that's why I made the name is Romeo, man. Like,
this
to
is
live
probably
to
15
live
or
or die
16.
with someone. Like, if I can't be with you, I'll still kill myself.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, my man, that's a work of fiction, and it did not end well for either one of them.
Right.
So, just...
Tone it down.
No, yeah, just like, this is a really fun conversation we're having right now.
Yeah.
And you know, at least I'm having fun. I don't care about nobody else. Just kidding. I love you all. So, okay. So you meet Susan. You move to West Virginia. She lets you stay.
Yeah, she let me stay.
Okay.
After about 6 months of knowing her.
Oh, cool. Okay. And then after 11 years, y'all break it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she had thrown me out of the house like probably literally over 100 times, which during that 11-year time, it was kind of a turbulent relationship at times. In her own words, she said when it was good, it was the best of times, and when it was bad, it was the worst of times.
That makes sense. Yeah, intensity will do that. So it can be polarized.
I mean, the main reason why people ask me all the time, why aren't you together? I mean, I don't have a really good answer for that, because there's not really one reason why we're not together. But I would say the main reason why she left me, like she always told me, was that my mouth is what usually would get me in trouble the most with her, because I was the type of person that would get upset and emotional and then say mean, hateful things to her that I didn't even mean, but I was just trying to hurt her because I had felt hurt myself, you know. So when you say things like that, it starts to kind of chip away at the love, and you start losing things like that, and then just losing my temper sometimes.
Conflict resolution is a skill many
stuff,
of us need to work on, that's for sure. Conflict resolution. So, do you think you're still trying to find her? I mean, y'all are broken up now. It's been how long?
Oh, we've been apart now for about 5 years.
5 years. Are you still trying to find Silly Girl again?
Well, I mean, I think everybody wants a certain type of girl. So, I mean, like, yeah, I am looking for someone that's going to be in the same ballpark to her.
I mean,
you know, they don't got to be exactly like her. Because I know no two girls are going to be exactly the same. So I'm not really comparing you to her. I mean, a girl to her. But the thing about it is,
I ain't got no boobs.
you know, the thing about it is that I want a girl that's at least in that ballpark. You know.
I mean, what I mean is like the emotion, the love, the physical inner chemistry. I mean, you had something you felt was special with her, right?
Oh yeah.
And so oftentimes if we break up with somebody, we try to rekindle that with somebody else, which let me tell you, it never works. It doesn't work.
I mean, whatever you have is probably not going to be as
gotta,
special as your first love anyway, and the love that lasted 11 years. I mean, that was such a high intensity. Whatever I get, if I ever get anything else again, it's probably not going to equal that. But that's okay, because I'm satisfied with less than that.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, like, for me, like, Ruca and I are both divorced, and what I decided to do after I split up with my ex was I decided to take what went wrong in our relationship. It's not all her fault, it's not all my fault, but find out what went wrong and figure out why it went wrong. And then what I did was I made a litmus test. I made a list of deal breakers, and my deal breakers are very simple. And so I had my list of deal breakers, and I had an extra, what I call a litmus test. I call it the motorcycle litmus test. Now, you may have something similar, but this is mine. What I wanted to do was, it was a test. So if I was talking to a chick, I picked her up because we talked about lettuce at HEB or whatever, and we're dating or whatever, I'll casually say, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to get a motorcycle. If they flip their fucking wig, it's like, what? You're going to get yourself killed? No ring for that chick. That ain't happening. Because I'm passionate about motorcycles, right? I love riding motorcycles. I'm not currently on one, but, you know, that's something I'm very passionate about. Ruca passed it twice. I bought a little scooter, rode around on that thing, turned around, bought a bigger bike. She's like, cool, let me take you pick it up. And she even rode with me to, we tried to ride together to Rock Rally one year, but the fucking motorcycle left us broke down on Runberg fucking Lane at midnight. And it's right near that Jack in the Box in Planet K. Motherfucker, fuck you, Kawasaki. How about that, you rat bastard? It was used. It was a high mileage motorcycle. Dude, when that thing would run, I was doing 90 on the fucking freeway, didn't even know it, my man. That thing was the shit. But I have a list. It's like the chick's got to be confident, right? And like I like it. I'm cool with PDA, but I don't need, like, if we go into a social situation, and that girl's like, hey, get on me, hold me, be close to me. No. It's cool. We can walk in, hold hands, and Ruca passed that with flying colors. I said, hey, girl. We go to our friends' events and stuff, and then we turn around and she'll go one direction, I'll go the other, I'll come back, check on her, buy her a drink or whatever, and then we go on about our business. She's cool. She's totally confident and comfortable in situations that involve other people. And she's super confident. She doesn't fish for compliments. That was another thing. So, I got an acquaintance who's like, oh, I would never wear that. I know I'm too fat. I'm like, I ain't gonna say nice things to you now, because you just fishing for it, you know. But those are my deal breakers, and that's my litmus test. What do you have? I mean, I know you got a lengthy list. Everyone listening, and we know about the list.
You know about the list.
Let's break it down to Romeo's real list. Like, what is the real list? Like, there's got to be like 3 or 4 things, because everything else can be kind of worked around and whatnot. But what's your top 3? Let's say top 3. Top 3. Personality traits, whatever. Top 3.
Well, I mean, I have to be physically attracted to the girl, so that's number one. And then number two, they just can't be like a selfish girl. You know, they got to be able to give me a lot of time and affection and attention, so they can't be selfish in any of those kind of ways. And they have to be, third, they have to be a decent person with good morals and values. I mean, I would say that's probably the number three things that I'm really looking for. It's not so much of me trying to qualify them as it's like looking back at my old relationship. It's nothing that my girlfriend did that was bad. Everything was really my fault in that relationship. You know, it's all. If I would have just did a few simple things, we would still be together today. I'm sure of it.
I can understand that, but you know what? And when I broke up with my ex, I had a lot of guilt, and I felt horribly responsible for everything that went wrong. And then after some time, after I mellowed out, and after I got to really sit down and quietly assess what was going on, I realized, you know what? Some of it was my fault. Other parts were her fault. It takes two to build a relationship. It takes two to destroy a relationship. So don't ever beat yourself Don't beat yourself up too hard on that stuff, dude, because you got to understand that, like, she's got her hang-ups, you got yours.
Yeah, I mean, we had like our little issues that we would argue about. Like, for example, just so you can kind of understand some of the things we would argue about. For example, she could be kind of controlling in some ways because she knew my weaknesses was that she would tell me all the time, if I leave you, I know your worst fear is to be alone in life, and the only way you can be happy is to be with a beautiful girlfriend. So if I leave you, you're not going to have that happiness, and you're going to be alone for the rest of your life because I'm the only person that will have anything to ever do with you. You'll never find anyone else. I'm the only person, so you better do everything I tell you to do and do everything my way, or I'll leave you. And then what are you going to be left with? So like we had like these little arguments and stuff. Like, for example, when we first got together, I wasn't allowed to have my own computer, you know, so she finally decided after about a year that she was going to buy her a computer. And then we argued because I wanted to use the computer more than she did, and she was like, you're using the computer too much, you need to stop. So we'd have arguments over that because she tried to limit me to just 1 hour a day. And it's like, so then I was finally, after about 2 years of arguing with her, her computer had broke, and she finally said, you know what, if you buy me a computer since mine's broke, I'll let you buy yourself a computer too. Because see, she didn't have a job really. She only worked about 3 months out of the whole entire 11 years. So I was the one that was making the money. So she didn't have enough money to buy her own computer. But she allowed me to buy my own computer and use my own computer if I bought her a replacement one. So we argued a lot over how much I would use the internet and things like that. You know, little things like that. Or if I bought myself too many guitars, you know, too many guitars. One time there was too many guitars coming in the house, and she said, if another damn guitar comes into this house before you buy me something, then I'm throwing you out, you know. So there was a lot of things like that.
Don't you think that was kind of controlling?
Yeah,
I mean, that seems pretty hardcore.
I wasn't allowed to have anybody come
like,
over
was she
to the
checking
house
your phone and whatnot too?
She checked the computer, like the history and stuff. And you know, sometimes back in the day, there used to be those pop-ups of like porno sites and stuff. But you didn't go to the site, but you didn't know you were going to go to that site. But when you clicked on a link, it took you somewhere you didn't know. And
none of us intend to go to the site, right, guys?
And she like looks at the history.
Damn you, Reddit! I got a problem with
And she looks at the history and then she accuses you of this and that. You know, and I had this one friend that played music and stuff at a job I had in West Virginia one time, and I wanted him to come over and watch this Alex Jones documentary with me. I never had anybody ever come over to the house before in like 8 years, and this is about our 8-year mark. And so I told him, okay, you know what, you can come over and we're going to watch this documentary about 911 being an inside job together. And the thing about it is...
Loose change?
Yeah, it was loose change. And so I was like, I went home and I started vacuuming and cleaning up the living room. And she said, what are you cleaning the house for? She said, are you having company over or something? Now keep in mind, I've never had nobody come over to the house before. And I said, yeah, I was actually going to have this guy from work come over and we're just going to watch a documentary for like 2 hours and he's going to leave and that's all. And she said, oh, no, this is my house. You didn't ask me if you could have anybody come over. You're not having him come over here. If you have anybody, think you're going to have anybody come over to this house, then you can get out right now and take all your stuff with you. So I said, you know what? I'll just go over to his house then. I'll just take our DVD player and go over to his house, and then I'll come back at 10 o'clock tonight. She said, no, if you go over to his house, you plan on staying gone. So that's the way that was. See, I wasn't allowed to have anyone over. Not that I really cared about having outside friends anyway, but, you know, it's just, she was kind of controlling in some senses.
Oh, that's not kind of, bro.
So, you know, I went from living with my grandmother all my life not being able, and then being with her,
Yeah.
and then coming here and considering that I never went on a date with anyone, so I didn't know how to ask a girl out to make Sleepless in Austin. And people don't understand that it's just a guy that doesn't know any better and doesn't know how to get a girlfriend, and doesn't know how to socially interact with the girls because he's 35 years old and he's never had any experience.
Yeah.
And then when I make something, and then all that happens, I start losing my jobs, because I've lost 4 jobs because of what people said about me on the internet, And
Okay, so you know what? We're gonna. How am I gonna do this now? Okay, we're gonna. Okay, I think we're pretty good with Silly Girl.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Check this out. So earlier you were talking about trolling Austin back in the old days, right? Pissing on the Alamo and fuck Texas and burn the flag.
Yeah, and I stole footage from Ozzy Osbourne, the producer Peter Margolis and Randy Rhoads,
So-
who became known for that.
Yeah, so here's what I want to know. Why move to Austin then? Like you had beef with all these, you had like blues beef songs
Yeah.
going crisscrossing the country.
There's 2
And
reasons.
then you come to the home of the Alamo, which is Texas,
Right.
and you're an hour and a half, an hour north of the Alamo in,
San Antonio.
of course, yeah, but I mean, you moved to Austin, but I mean, Austin's music scene is, yeah, it's there, but I mean, but with everything else, why from West Virginia to Austin?
All right, so I can explain that real
That's
easy.
a
So
big jump.
there's 2 reasons. Okay, so this is another thing that calls her to break up with me, I think, too. Is that from 2005, when I first visited to Austin, because I was wanting us to move to a better city, to a place that, now there's nothing wrong with Huntington, West Virginia. It's not what you think. It's not like rednecks and stuff and Deliverance.
Is that
It's where Marshall, Matthew McConaughey filmed the movie We Are Marshall.
where University
Of Marshall is there.
Oh,
That's what
Marshall.
they're known for. Yeah, and that's about all they have. It's a town of about 50,000 people. There's no coal mining or none of that shit there. It's very educated people that are there. There's not racism and stuff there like people think there is.
Yeah.
There's, it's just a very small town. It's very poverty-stricken and stuff. They have people work at the university, or they work at the hospital, or they work at some kind of service industry job, basically,
Gotcha.
or a call center. So anyway, the thing about it is, when she kicked me out, I walked in the snow for 5 days straight because I didn't have anywhere to go. She threw me out right before I came to Austin, and I had no money. I didn't have a car. I didn't have anything. It was snowing. There was 1.5 feet of snow. It was like 30-something degrees outside. I thought I was going to die of hypothermia, so I literally walked for literally 5 days in the snow before I came to Texas because I was afraid to go to sleep because I thought if I go to sleep, I'd die of hypothermia like Bon Scott or some bum or something would kill me or something, right? Seriously.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
just walking the streets with nothing but my jacket, my hat on, and that guitar, walking the streets, just walking. I stayed up literally 5 days. I'm not kidding you. And I finally thought, okay, so skipping behind that though, in 2005 we visited Austin because we were wanting to move here and thought we'd have more things to do and more fun and just a better place. And we thought it'd be like Stevie Ray Vaughan was from here and this blues music, and we thought it'd be cool. I didn't know anything about the politics or any of that stuff here, which we're not going to talk about. But I didn't know about that stuff at that time.
Right.
Okay. So I thought I'd be well received here, of course. Now as far as those bullies and stuff that were picking on me, like Lance Lopez, I just thought, hey, I'm a rebel. I don't care what they say. They're not going to. You tell me not to do something, I'm going to do it. So anyway, me and her had been arguing about for 5 years, when are you going to put the house up for sale and us move to Austin? And something would always get in the way of her coming to Austin and selling the house.
Mm-hmm.
But I was obsessed with Austin, Texas for 5 years. I even had
Was
this-
all her family from West Virginia?
Yeah, but they didn't really live there. They lived down in Florida, so she had nothing keeping her there. So the thing about it, I think the thing is that she didn't want to move in with me somewhere because she was afraid of losing control. If I was in a house of my own, I would have more control. So the thing about it is, I came here for about a week in 2005, and I liked it, and she liked it, and I was obsessed, and I read about Austin and talked about Austin every single day obsessively for 5 years. When she threw me out, the only thing I could think of going is I thought, where am I going to go now? I've got nowhere to go, and I'm about to freeze to death here, literally. I said, okay, I need to come up with a way to do some creative financing so I can, come up with some money, a way to get some money real quick, because I had the money to get a Greyhound bus ticket, and I'm going to go to Austin, Texas, because I've been there before. It looked nice, and I've been wanting to move there for 5 years, so why not? Maybe we'll end up getting back together once I get in Austin,
2 years
Texas.
in the bucket, right?
Yeah, so I came to Austin, Texas.
Okay, cool. And you've been here ever since?
I've been here ever since, and she came here and lived with me for 3 months, about 9 months after we had broken up. Because I got here December 22nd, 2009, and then in September of the next year, we started talking around our birthdays. I flew to West Virginia for 3 days, so we got back together, and then that December, she moved in with me in my apartment in South Austin and lived there for 3 months. I think she just came there because she was afraid the little Yorkie dog was going to die because it was too cold, and she didn't have the money to pay her gas bill in West Virginia and was freezing to death with no gas and heat on there. It was snowing.
So she came back around and hung out for a few months in Austin.
Yeah, and then we had an argument, she left. I've never seen her or talked to her since.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that, dude, but it seems like the one thing you have to do is learn from it and move forward. So you don't want to live in the past, but you want to remember it, right?
Right, and that's what I've been trying to do. And then the Sleepless in Austin thing happened, and that's cost me like 4 jobs. And I feel like that keeps following me through life. People won't let me move past that. And that's been holding me back a lot the last few years. So that's why I want to move.
You kind of see, like, how intense that was. And, like, looking back, right? It was intense. It was like, and your requirements was extremely detailed. So I think that's what put people off.
I was basically just looking for someone as similar to what I had before in a relationship as I could possibly get. Because all those requirements that described, Silly Girl to a T.
Right. But I mean, when I read down the list, I didn't really notice very many. I noticed a lot. There was preferences. There was, you have a certain political preference that you wish, and everyone has their druthers, right? Everyone has a type that they like, and you listed it very detailed. But I didn't notice personality, like disposition, temperament,
and so
laid back,
I never got to
I need
that
a
point.
type A type person to help keep me focused.
I never got to that point either because it was just a rough draft. That's what went viral. Was just a rough draft.
The rough draft went viral?
Yeah, I had just made that website like about 12 hours before it went viral, and then I went to work, and next thing I know, it had over 1 million hits literally the first day. So, I didn't know anybody was going to see that. I wasn't finished with it.
So, okay, check this out. Let me give you some advice. I'm giving you good advice, right?
Yeah, you sound pretty
Am I
legit.
giving them good advice? Yeah. All right, good. I'm good at advice giving. Fuck you, Reddit. Microsoft Word. Use that. Use that as your rough draft. Then when you get it revised, Rev 3, Rev 4, whatever, cut it, paste it into the site. Done. There you go. And then you won't have any online viral.
I know. I just need like a DeLorean time machine so I can go back in time. And let me tell you this too, man. If I could go back in time, because let me tell you, this really explains my personality and my character and everything about me and my political beliefs and everything. If you can just understand this one concept. My favorite time in life, besides being with Silly Girl, my favorite years in life as far as the way the world was like 1986 to like 1994. The way that the world was back then, all this progressive change that's happened since then, if you could just put yourself, go back in time and the way that people's attitudes were about all kinds of things in life and different beliefs and stuff, if we could live in that bubble forever, that's the bubble that I would want to live in.
Okay.
Take me back to 1986, because if you take that website, Sleepless in Austin, and put it back in 1988, it wouldn't have been as controversial. There would have been some people that would have thought it was controversial, but it wouldn't have been the majority of the people thinking it was controversial.
Well, that in '88 there wasn't really the internet either.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I don't know. It's just a time. The music was good in 1987 to 1994, and it's
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think my personal time that I would like to go back to would be probably the late '70s, just because it seemed like fun to be a teenager then. Like just running around. You can drink when you're 18. You can blaze up and just chase kids and beat them up. I'm sorry. I'm talking about Days of Confused. So, all right. So let's. We're about to run out of time, but I have a question for you. Now, I've known that you, online personality, you seem to try to reinvent yourself, but it seems that it never seems to be as successful as you intend. You did the Jim Harris thing.
yeah, my film Lovers, which really depicts exactly that film. People don't get it because people don't understand what real love is and stuff, and they think it's corny just kissing a girl for 30 minutes, but they don't understand the poetry that was in that movie and all this symbolic stuff, like the picnic basket in that movie is the same picnic basket, well not the same exact one, but the same kind, that me and my girlfriend used to have. There was a lot of symbolism in there between me and my ex-girlfriend and things that we used to do. And all those were romantic gestures, picnics in the park with the peacocks and going to Mount Bonnell and all those things. That's the things I would like to do with a girl and the things I used to do with my ex-girlfriend. That depicts to me what real love and real romance and beauty is, and that's what that film is about. And that's really what I'm about. Before Sleepless in Austin and all that stupid controversy, because, you know, people look at that controversy and they misinterpret me. They think that I'm just walking around. I'm not saying that I don't have any of those beliefs, but they think that those beliefs rule my life and that make up the majority of my focus. My focus doesn't think about those controversial topics. My mind is not thinking about that stuff. It's not at the forefront of my mind all the time. It's like 1% of who I am. The other 99% is just self-absorbed, very narcissistic maybe. I'm only caring about being in a bubble with a girl, and my whole world focuses around the girl when I'm in a relationship, and just music. I just want to focus on music and loving a girl and being loved back. That's all I care about. And everybody else in the world, what they're doing and what they believe in, it really doesn't affect me, so it doesn't really concern me.
So with that, I mean, shit, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, dude.
You were talking about reinventing myself.
I got baby brain, man. I'm tired. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, so, but do you think that, okay, so what people see online, what people see on Twitter, and what people see on YouTube, is that really you? Or is that like some type of, like, you mentioned being inspired by Andy Kaufman, but Andy Kaufman had partners that was in on the joke.
I think it's better though when nobody's in on the joke, because I think
But
it's
then
better.
is it a joke?
Well, it can still be a joke when nobody's in on it.
Do bears shit in the woods?
Well, that's the whole point. That's what makes it more genius, because people will never be able to figure out exactly which parts of my life is really Andy Kaufman. So which parts am I just bullshitting people on, making up, and just going to get attention or controversy, and which parts am I really sincere about? Because I don't want the public to ever really know those things necessarily, because the only person that really deserves to know me that privately would be like my girlfriend.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is like from a larger social point of view, and I know we talked
I'm a
earlier.
multifaceted person like a diamond.
No, I know.
Got many
yeah,
sides.
but what I'm saying is like from a social perspective, and you gotta concede that we live in interaction with other creatures, whether it's the people in this room,
Right, so that's why most people, right, and that's why most people are two-faced, and they'll be hypocrites, and they'll say one thing outside in public, so they won't have to face consequences and repercussions in society, so they can fit into society's norms and standards and political correctness, and then behind closed doors they'll be their true self. A lot of people are like that, and I don't want to be that way. I'd rather just tell you up front what I am, and if you don't like me, that's fine, but at least I'm telling you up front, you know, I'm not being two-faced.
That's very true. That's true. But even still, though, we do live in that world.
Yeah,
And
I've lost 4 jobs because of it, so I'm well aware of that.
yeah. So, but don't you think that like being able to tone it back a little bit would give you better chances with your music, your
Oh
photography,
yeah,
your
it
video
for sure would, and I've been trying to tone it back too, and there's people that harass me and stuff online and stalk me and stuff, and that makes it harder for me to tone things back, because when they start writing lies about me and stuff on the internet, negative things, and then I lose a job or something over it, then that makes me get really angry and start venting more, and I go online and I really start feeding into that and blowing it up even bigger. You know, and it's like because people just won't let it die. I mean, if I could just push a magic button and have the whole Sleepless in Austin thing completely erased that never happened, and have everything that's ever been written about me on the internet just erased, I would push that button like right now.
If that was just a rough draft, then why didn't you just come out and say, like when you were on Dudley and Bob, you could have just said, yeah, you know what?
Oh, I did. I said it was a rough draft.
Oh, you did?
I
Okay,
did.
I missed that part. Because I would be like, yeah, that's Rev 1, dude. There's a lot of editing going on. I should have wrote it in Word. My bad. And just let it be.
And you know what happened though with that too. You know, if you want to really be honest, you got to keep in part that we're in Austin. Austin has a certain spectrum of the political makeup here, without labeling it, because I'm not allowed to talk about politics. But there's a certain spectrum, a certain color of politics this is the only spot in Texas that has it, and that's not really what I'm part of. So that was their opportunity to use me as their poster boy and use me to push their agenda. And I think that's why they jumped on the bandwagon and said, we're going to use this guy here to make him look like such a horrible person so we can get more hits on our websites and get more attention to our websites and also make money off of him. I've never made a cent off of any of this stuff, but other people have, because when they put me on their website or stuff, not now, you're not going to get no hits now because there's not even 20 people that's interested in me in this day and age, but before there was, in the first few months, there was, I got 50 million hits on my website the first month, but at that time they were making money off of ads and stuff, and they didn't care if I lost my job or whatever. They didn't care. I even asked the statesman if they would take some of the things that they said about me during that sleepless thing, because they put some things in there, about attitudes towards women and stuff, some things that I said when I was with South Park contacted me at one point, wanted to do a reality show with me if I could keep the momentum going. And so then I was like, well, I'm going to say the most outrageous things I can say now because I need to get hits, because if I can get a lot of views and keep this going, I can get a reality show with like the producers of South Park. So I said a lot of stuff that I didn't mean, like on Twitter one time, these vulgar things about like rape and women and stuff like that. And then Austin Statesman does an article about it, which is still there if you Google my name. So it's like, that's one reason why I had to legally change my name, and it's like, so that's up there. And, it's like, you just can't hardly get away from it. I even emailed them 2 years after the fact. I emailed the person at Statesman. I said, hey, look, could you remove that article because it's causing me some trouble? Could you take that down? There's also another video of me where I say some things that are probably like Adolf Hitler, where I'm like, hey, this certain person, because of their sexuality or whatever, should be put in gas chambers and stuff like that. I said that in this video because this guy, Paul Costello, interviewed me. Well, the reason why I said those things was because I just had been fired from my job at Time Warner Cable that very same day, and I was really mad, and the guy walks up to me and sticks a microphone in my mouth and says, hey man, I want to ask you how you feel about this type of person or whatever. So I said, okay, I'm going to say the most hateful thing I can say just because I know this is going to get attention. Well, that video on YouTube now has got like 1 million hits. And I asked him like a few weeks later, once I calmed down, I told him, I said, hey man, you know what? I was really just venting and stuff. Didn't even really mean what I said necessarily on that video. Like, could you take that down? Because that's probably going to interfere with me getting a new job. And he's like, no, I'm not going to take it down. I'm like, dude, that's wrong because you're actually making money off of ads. You're making money, and I'm losing my job now just because you're being an opportunist. I was like, dude, can you at least he's like, we finally came to a compromise, and he blurred out my face. And that's all he did. But, so it's
I remember that.
It's ridiculous, it's like,
I remember that video.
Yeah.
So, but, okay, let me give you some more advice, man. You got a camera, right?
Yeah, I got a
make
camera.
videos.
I'm a filmmaker.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a mini-camera renaissance man, artist,
so when
musician.
when you get upset, when you do your rant, videotape yourself. Do not post it. That way, you won't get the heat, you can still vent it out, and everything's copacetic. And then when you're done and you're feeling better, delete it. And you're good, man. I bang stuff out on this laptop all the time. F this, fuck that, blah, 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 Christmas tree lights suck, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And my friend over there, Laura, she's sitting right there. We have a little bit that we do on her podcast called Radio Tatas. And it's called What the Fuck Is He Saying? And once a week, whatever's pissing me off, I rant about it, and then I'm good. I'm cathartic, and Ruca doesn't have to hear me yelling around the house. And sometimes I'll just write rage on a laptop, and then when I'm done, I delete it. It's cathartic. It gets your point across, and you're good, and you're able to remain employed.
Yeah, these people, what they do too is they'll take like one moment in time. You can't, one moment in time, one thing that you say, one thing that you write, that's how you feel at that particular moment in time. And then they take it and they put it on the internet, refuse to take it down, and then it's taken out of context, and it's frozen in time. You're not necessarily who you are 5 minutes ago. The type of, if you meet Romeo Rose, I'm going to be a different person depending on what context we meet in, depending on what mood I'm in that day, depending on how things are going in my life that day, just all kinds of different variables that's going to cause me to behave and act a different way. So if you take images and words of mine, put them in a different spin, and freeze it up there, it's like, you look at that stuff on the internet, but if you've never met me and never talked to me, you have no idea what kind of person I really am. You just have a total misconception,
Have you ever considered being that person online, though? Like, have you ever considered or ever thought about, hey, I'm just going to be me, Romeo, outlandishness.
That's what I was basically trying to do with the film, with the film Lovers and stuff like that, but people keep bringing back up the past.
The old stuff,
There's certain stalkers on the internet that will not let things go, and they just keep at it. I mean, they'll try to locate my information, and they'll call my employers if they find out and get me fired. That's why I have to be very protective about where people know I live. I've had people send bombs to my house before. Basically, it wasn't a bomb. It turned out not to be a bomb. It was during Sleepless in Austin, and I had to have the Austin. I took this letter to the Austin police, and they had the bomb squad like open it up because they thought it was like a bomb or something like that. Because it looked very suspicious. So you gotta be really careful with stuff. It's just very, very difficult when people won't let things go. You know?
Yeah.
And so that's one reason why I want to move out of Austin too, is because I feel like I'm never gonna really. I feel like Austin's like quicksand. Like I'm an ant. I start building something up, building my life up, and then people just kick it down, and then I gotta start rebuilding again. I just want to get to a place where I can find more like-minded people, you know, and feel like I have better prospects.
Greener pastures, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, we're gonna have to wrap this up, but would you like to answer some audience questions, or
Answer any questions? I'm cool with that.
Anybody got questions? Anybody got questions? No?
Yes.
We'll come up to the mic. Oh, you're good? Everybody's good? You got a question,
I
Justin?
have a question, yeah. So we were talking earlier today. You mentioned the Michael Jackson situation to me.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah. I mean,
It's pretty funny.
that's the thing, you know, that a lot of people, they don't understand. It's like, for people to call me racist or something like that, it's like the most ludicrous thing, because if they knew me from the time that I was a little kid, they would see all these little things that I used to do. Like, when I was little, I literally believed I was Michael Jackson for like about a year. You know, I had like the jackets, the beaded jacket, the red jacket with the zippers, and the fedora hat, the sunglasses, and the black shoes and white socks. And I used to dress like that every day at school. I would go to school dressed up like Michael Jackson. I made people call me Michael Jackson. Like the teachers actually had to address me as Michael Jackson.
Were you dressed like Michael Jackson, or were you dressed like Corey Feldman, dressed like Michael Jackson?
Probably more like Corey Feldman, to tell you the truth, which I like Corey Feldman. I love Corey Feldman. But you know what, though? The thing about it is I would go to school, and then, you know, there would be some racist people that I would come into contact with, you know, when I was a little kid, and they would say words that were racist and stuff. I knew what those words meant, and I would tell them, hey, you better not ever use that word around me, because that offends me, because I'm black. And they're like, what are you talking about? You're a white 8-year-old kid or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm a black 10-year-old kid or whatever. You know, and I really pushed that persona on the people. You know, and the thing about it is, growing up in Columbus, Georgia, it was like half black and half white. And so most of my friends growing up that I did have or associated with were always black people. And also another thing, when Sleepless in Austin happened, you know, most of the people that I was friends with at work were black people or gay people. They were my best friends that I worked with were black people and gay people. And you know, they never had a problem with me. It's like the people that always end up having a problem with me, it's like some little blonde-haired white bimbo hypocrite, and she's the one that's like, hey, let's get this guy in trouble, and she's the one that has all the evil in her heart, not me so much.
Oh, online social justice people.
Yeah, that's him.
So, okay, we got to wrap this thing up, but I wanted to ask you, I had a joke, but it's too late. You thought you were Michael Jackson, huh?
Yeah.
I guess that vitiligo was really kicking in. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
No? No? Okay.
It's a
I'm
wife.
trying to look at the proper term. Hey, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Emily. She's our wait staff tonight. Show her some love. Make sure she gets taken care of tip-wise. Also, in the back are 2015 Ruca and Dave Show Fight for Air Climb t-shirts. I'm giving them away. Just throw some money in as a donation. I'm going to pass it on to the Dudley and Bob breaking and entering tonight. So if you want a t-shirt, if you don't, I don't really care. But I'm giving them away, so just for donations. So there's like one extra large, there's a bunch of large, like one medium, one small. So I'm just trying to get rid of them. I got to make new ones this year. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. Romeo Rose, is there anything you want to promote? Any website, your Twitter, anything like that?
You know, I don't really have anything I want to promote other than I'm trying to sell that guitar right there for $700.
Show the guitar to the camera right there. Just give them a quick look-see at it. It's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah,
This guitar is
beautiful guitar.
hand-carved, and it
And,
works. I've seen him rip it up. I mean, I've seen him just tear it up on this guitar, so... yeah, so
think about it this way: if you buy, even if you hate me, if you buy the guitar, or if you can like maybe do a crowd fundraising thing or something like that, to where I could raise about, say, I mean, this I'll sell that for $700. But if I could raise, literally, if I could raise about $5,000, as quick as possible, I would gladly move out of the state of Texas and never come back again. I'm not even kidding about this. The only reason why I'm here today is for not having the money to do so. As soon as I get the money, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Shani, did you have a question?
I do.
Come on up. This is my friend Shani. She's got a question.
Oh, cool.
Oh, my. What's that?
So I'm a mother of identical twin girls that are 19. And one of the things about identical twins is it's one egg that splits. So they're very close. And the bond between them is amazing.
Can you hold up your guitar again?
Oh, yeah.
Shit. Hang on.
I record over an hour all the time. Hang on, guys. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
Bro, that's good. Sorry about that.
Okay, Shani, go ahead. Let's start over. We had a bit of technical difficulty. Shani, go ahead with your question.
Okay. I'm a mother of 19-year-old identical twin girls. Very close bond. It's an egg that splits into two, so they're basically one person that has developed into two. And with you being an identical twin as well, how do you feel like that has affected you, losing basically a part of yourself to something as horrible as murder by your father?
Yeah, I think it's had a big effect on me. People, they always gloss over that because they're like, well, you were just a baby when it happened, so it's not going to make any difference or whatever. But I'm like, maybe that's why I feel so much emptiness inside, and why I try to need such a strong bond with someone, and why I become so codependent upon a woman in a relationship in order to have all my happiness and everything, and why I have, because I have like a lot of emptiness, and they say that people that lose their twins have this big emptiness, like they say all of a sudden it's felt the same way, and that's what I've always felt. Maybe part of it comes from that, because I'm very alone all the time. Even if I go out around a crowd of people, I feel very alone, you know. And the only time I've ever not felt alone was when I had a girlfriend and stuff. And just being isolated my whole life, and then not having that twin brother. Because imagine what my life might have been like if he was still alive. That would have been, you know, the person that I would have been with like all the time probably, you know. And I feel like it's a deeper bond that twins have that other people, they just don't understand that sort of a thing, you know. It's like a telepathic kind of connection. It's like, that's why I wrote that song called Soul Brother, because I feel a connection. I feel like it's almost like maybe a guardian angel or something that watches over with me. You know, it's like in my bedroom. I showed Justin today, you know, some of my seraphim angels that I collect, because I like to surround myself with angels to watch over me when I sleep. And that's one thing I used to love about Austin, because, you know, believe it, as much as bitter and as jaded as I've became over the last couple of years, because people are trying to run me out of town and make me lose my jobs and stuff, where I'm basically I'm just one step away from being homeless. And the thing about it is like, I used to love this city. I made a whole entire CD called Welcome to Austin, and every song was about a beautiful place in this city, and I obsessed over moving to this city for 5 years, you know. And that's, I wrote that song Soul Brother. That was about my twin, you know. And when I came to Austin, I felt like I love this city so much. I felt like I had angels here watching over me in this, because I tell people, I'm like, man, Austin is the greatest place in the world, and nothing bad ever happens to nobody in Austin. Like, nothing bad happened to me, because Austin's like heaven on earth, and I got angels watching over me, because I came here with nothing in my pockets. I didn't have any money. I lied and said I was selling something on eBay, and I posted a picture of something I didn't even own on eBay, so I could get somebody to send me like $500 or $600 through PayPal, and then I got the money in my bank account, took the money, bought the Greyhound bus ticket. I did that at the library, and then I paid, well, I didn't never pay nobody back, but PayPal reimbursed the customer, so nobody was actually ripped off. But the thing about it is that's what I had to do to survive to get here, because I was about to freeze to death in that cold. And the thing is, when I got here, I didn't have no friends here. I don't have any family. And the only aunts or whatever that I do have, they have nothing to do with me. They've never spoken to me in 20-something years. They don't have anything to do with me. And the thing about it is, when I came here, I didn't know anybody or nothing. And you know what? When I first got here, I just had enough money to stay up north here at like the Motel 6 or whatever for like $100 a night. And I stayed 2 nights there, and then I stayed at that place on Breaker Lane called Value Place or whatever for $250 plus a $100 deposit. I had enough money to cover that for 1 week, and after that, I didn't have nothing but like maybe $100 left. But I was able to find a job within that first 2 weeks of being here. I was able to find me a job within 2 weeks of being here, and I also put together a band and played my first show because Cutter Brandenburg, Stevie's manager, told me that I would never get a paying gig in Austin. So I was driven to make sure that that happened. And I didn't even have a band. I seen this ad, and they said, we need you to come play at Bikinis for the Rock Rally, and we'll pay you $300 plus all you can eat and drink. And I said, okay, I'll do that, because I got the best band in Austin. I didn't even have a band, but I put together a band. And one of the people that I played with at that show was Tracy Clark from the Bells of Joys, which is a famous gospel band here in Austin, and very well known. That plays at Thread Gills and Stubbs every week. And so he was my bass player. So I did that from nothing, coming off the Greyhound bus with no money in my pocket. I survived. I got me a job. I got my first paying show, and then I eventually got me an apartment and everything. And you know what? When I was out on the when I was walking the streets, I mean, I was living in that motel for like a week, but I was out there and I didn't have no food to eat, and I seen these people that they're like race, like Mexican or black or something, and they looked like they had do-rags on, something like a gang member or something. So that would kind of naturally made me nervous, because I grew up in an upper middle class neighborhood in Georgia. But the thing about it is, they actually said, hey man, are you hungry? Because I'll give you some food. And they gave me some food. And that's what I always said. Is people in Austin are good people.
Yeah.
And, you know, things just kind of went to hell later on. But
That's the beauty of humanity.
yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap this thing up. So he's selling his guitar for $700, and Austin, he wants to move. All right? It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this thing up. So, of course, if you want to find the lovely Ruca on Twitter, she's at Famous Ruca. If you want to find us on Facebook, you know how to find us. It's /Ruca Dave. Hey, we're online too, obviously.
No shit.
So, yeah, no shit. So, you can find us on Stitcher and iTunes, and we're online. We've got our own website, rucadave.com. Of course, you know this. So, if you like the show, tell your friends. If you want to follow me, I write for comedywham.com. Speaking of which, we have a very special guest in the room tonight. Or we did. Vanessa Gonzalez. And maybe she's not here no more. I don't know. She might have left. Anyway, she's got a show tonight at the Salvage Vanguard Theater called, excuse me, I don't know why you're saying that. It's a one-person sketch show. Shows are at 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. And if you want to buy tickets at the door, it's cash at the door, $10 a ticket, or you can buy them online at Eventbrite. So go check that show out. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at LDavidThomas. Say goodnight, Romeo Rose.
All right. Romeo Rose, pimping them hoes from the ghettos to the limos.
Yeah. All right, good night, y'all.